stunning looks, then swift.
We thought the stage was set for the reigning champions to belatedly lift off. They fielded the deepest imaginable batting lineup. They chose to take first strike at the Chinnaswamy Stadium against a bowling lineup which weeks earlier had conceded the highest total in the history of the Men's ODI World Cup. End result, England are bowled out for 156. Welcome to Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday, where England have been bundled out by Sri Lanka in Bangalore to leave an already shaky title defence in severely troubled waters. In the company of Shane Bond here in our studios, Farveez Maharoof, who will wear the happiest look we have seen in a while. And I will go to Farveez first, Shane, because even your most optimistic prediction, and I know you gave us a range pre-match, still had 250 as the lower end. It's finished about 100 runs south of that, Farveez.
First of all, Yash, that's a nice build-up what you said. The team that ended up giving away so much runs bundled out the regaining champions of 156. Goes to show how poorly England batted, and the game awareness was so poor by the regaining champions. I keep repeating it, but why I say that is, I mean, the way the players are getting out, some wickets have been thrown away. There's no one taking the responsibility, but full marks to the Sri Lankan bowling lineup. And what a comeback by Angelo Mathews. There's so much things to talk about Sri Lanka and so much things to like about. So overall, I think the first half had gone really well, and hopefully Sri Lanka can chase this down and keeping a close eye on that net run rate as well.
Yeah, there is so much to unpack from this innings, as Farveez already teased us up. But before we get into that, just your initial reactions, Bondi, because none of us saw this coming.
Yeah, you said about taking off. It's not taking off. It's like the London Underground, isn't it? The way that England have performed there. Yeah, it's I mean, Sri Lanka were brilliant. I mean, at the start they were a little bit wide, offered some width, and we thought, here we go. This is the stage is set for a big score. And then, you know, the run out, the batting equivalent of a drop catch, turned the whole innings around, that Joe Root run out. And then Sri Lanka, all of a sudden, their discipline came in. Mathews was brilliant, Kamara was brilliant, Tikshana was brilliant, and they just squeezed the life out of England. And England have talked a lot about how they're going to play, how they're very bolshy about their style and their brand, and they're going to whack it. And it sort of puts your eggs in one basket. And when you say you're going to do something, then you have to do it. And when you're not in form and it doesn't come off, then it unravels, and it's unravelled today.
Yeah, it's unravelled. And how, Farveez, I know there's a lot to write home about the Sri Lankan bowling, but I think the England batting is where we begin this first. We've spoken through their decisions, through this campaign, about this having the look of a side that is confused, a look of a side that has lost its identity. And for most of that innings, as you already set up, that was just typified.
Yeah, I think, as Shane Bond correctly said, you can do the talking in the media, but you come out of the field and and let the bat do the talking and the ball do the talking. I mean, you don't do that, you got to accept the criticism. And I thought, they were going hard every delivery. There was no single batsman wanting to play that dug-in innings. For example, in the last game Sri Lanka played against Netherlands, when things were going tough, Sadira Samarekar made sure that from the one end, he held on to the crease and didn't give his wicket, very cheaply, played a docile knock. But in England, everyone just comes in, goes bang bang. It's just not on when you're struggling as a team, when you're not performing up to the mark. I can see so many players out of form. They're trying to drive the ball on the up. So many nicks being carried behind the wicket. I mean, so many things going wrong in England setup. And I only feel after this World Cup, so many changes might happen of the way they're playing at the moment. This reminds me of the 2015 World Cup campaign for England up in Australia and New Zealand. After that World Cup, there were many changes happen. And if this continues for England in the next 4 games, I can see some tough decisions has been made.
Yeah, that wasn't an easy effort. They will hope that they can fight and make something from the second innings. But just focusing on the batting, Shane, just from everything Farveez said, all the analysis that has happened so far, and it had been bad enough even before Bangalore, some of the things that stood out were that element of England being undercooked in this format with the very little ODIs they've played, and also an absence of perhaps recalibrating that maybe these are surfaces where you can't be targeting 350. Which of those two factors did you see them costing them more in this one?
I think they're probably wider issues than just this game. I think Farveez is exactly right, you know, the looseness of the shots, but if you're going to say that you're going to play it in a certain way, then you have to. I think if you look at the top sides in the tournament, you have to play the game in front of you. Every ground, every conditions, every bowling attack you face presents a different challenge, and you just have to adapt. You have to have a clear game plan. That's not to say you don't have a style, but you've got to be smart in the way you play and look to set up the game. And you know, you've got to realise that we talked about Bengaluru being a 350 wicket, and perhaps it wasn't today. So you have to go, okay, 300's the target, so we've got to rein it a little bit more. We know we can put pressure on Sri Lanka at the back end, so we've just got to set the innings up slightly differently. But there seems to be no willingness to do that. And I think even in 2019, when England won the World Cup at home, it wasn't all crash bash. You know, they won the games by adapting, and they won the final by adapting. They didn't come out and chase 240 in 30 overs. So I think that they're sort of putting themselves in a corner in about a certain way that they have to play, and it's just not working for them.
And you look at those architects from 2019 who still remain within the batting mix, Farveez, and Joe Root with the run out has to blame himself. Johnny Bairstow's hack towards mid-on didn't look like a shot that was on at the moment. And the skipper, we talked about Jos Buttler's struggles, which didn't seem to add up to us, the fact that he has struggled in ODIs in India. At the end of this innings, it's now 11 innings in ODIs in this country, 164 runs, averaging less than 15. That's the third lowest for any top six batter to have had 10 innings in this country.
Yeah, add to that, Liam Livingstone and Moeen Ali as well. Very soft dismissals under the circumstances. So I reckon, you know, overall, it's just a pathetic display by England. I expected much more fight from that inexperienced team. As you said, 2019 World Cup, they were brilliant. And some of the names, if I'm in the opposition, you know, I'll be thinking, wow, I have to bowl to these players. You know, that sort of image what they have. But unfortunately, this just not clicking for England. I've been in this situation when I used to play for the national team. We had bigger names, but sometimes it doesn't work, and it's just a matter of one player playing that knock where it takes everyone together and brings everyone together. So at the moment, England, I think their ego is taking ahead of him. As I said, there's no better just wanting to play that docile role to bat the 45th over. Everyone going out there trying to blast the bowling attack, and you can't do it. Bangalore, yes, will have that tag of being 350 plus pitches, but today, as Shane said, it doesn't look like it had two pace, and sometimes the ball zips through and sometimes keeps low as well. I don't think any batsman apart from David Malan, when he started, adjusted to the conditions and gave themselves a chance to get themselves in and try and dig deep into the innings.
Right. That was not an innings to remember. It just feels like there's so much more to ask, but I think I'm going to save some of it because we're going to be back a few hours from now and there'll be a lot more to dissect. Yeah. Let's focus now on the good, shall we? And Sri Lanka's bowling. And we're going to start where it all started for them, from that old warhorse who returned. Who even writes Angelo Mathews' bowling scripts at World Cups? 2019, during that World Cup, he had not bowled for a year and a half, and the first time he was given the ball in that World Cup, late in the campaign, Nicholas Pooran was almost steering West Indies to victory in a 330-plus chase, and with the first ball, Angelo Mathews got him out and won the game for Sri Lanka. Here we are in 2023, Farveez, and he's only 36. The last time he bowled in an ODI, COVID wasn't a thing. Comes on, gets David Malan.
Absolutely brilliant. I'm so happy for Angelo. As I said in my pre-show, that he has worked his guts off to get the position. And when he ran past the first ball, where Johnny got hit on his pads and went for 3 runs, whereas Sri Lanka should have gone upstairs, they didn't go. First ball itself, Angelo Mathews in the game. My gut said, maybe Angelo's game. The first ball, fielding at mid-on, he's chasing down to the boundary and saving 1 run, showing his commitment. And straight away, when he picked up David Malan's wicket, he's in the game. Joe Root run out, and then Moeen Ali, it's just nothing short. Sometimes experience, class matters a lot. And also when Sri Lanka is chasing this score, the top order will always know, right, back of the mind, Angelo Mathews at number 7. He is our finisher. He has the experience. He can do it for us. And also today we saw during the bowlers are coming back to their run-ups. He's always at mid-on, going and speaking to Lucas Unrad, going and speaking to Mulchar Marusanga, going and speaking to Lairu Kumar, passing his knowledge, passing his experience. This is great to see. This is what experience can bring in to any team. So I think Angelo Mathews' factor is massive for the day as well as campaign ahead for Sri Lanka.
Yes, so rightly Farveez brings out that it's so much more than the bowling. But just focusing on the bowling, it stands out to me that the 2 wickets he took were both right at the start of his spell. You've had, as a batting side, you're facing higher pace, and then all of a sudden you get someone who's in a slower range. What does that do? Does that have something to do with just catching the batter off guard?
Well, naturally the eyes can light up. We've seen it a little bit in this tournament when a so-called lesser bowler comes on. People want to go hard at them, and they've had the ability to break partnerships open. But what it also showed is, like Farveez talked about, the ability of experience just to come on, offer no width, continually hit the same length and just pose questions. And England should have realised quickly that the ball was just standing up a little bit. There's just a little bit of inconsistency in the bounce, but he was just doing enough with the ball to create some problems, and he just didn't defer from that length. And I think then you ended up having the partnership bowling with Tikshana at the other end, so that created pressure on England. And the result was there's a whole lot of wickets. And obviously, Lahiri Kumara was brilliant as well coming back in. So you have to commend the Sri Lankan coach and selectors for getting their team selection right. They've gone on, and bringing that experience back in has made a big difference.
Yep. The second change, as Shane points out, Angelo Mathews came in and Lahiri Kumara came in. And both of them, between them, 5 for 49 of 12 overs. Let's talk Lahiri Kumara, Farveez, shall we? Because we've spoken about how under colour he looked. 2 bad warm-up games, a bad outing against Australia, 4 overs went for 47. And yet here he was. Just look at those 3 wickets. Joss Buttler, Liam Livingstone, Ben Stokes. What did he fix and what did he get right here?
The length, that was key. Against Australia, he was either short, either full. Today, he hit that in-between length, and whenever Lahiri Kumara with his pace, with an uneven bounce in the pitch, he's a handful. And the way Josh Buttler, got out, that was a good delivery, trying to play on the up, nick off, and also Liam Livingstone, the ball jagged back in on a good length. This is the Lahiri Kumara we have seen, and I've seen that boy from under 19 days. This is what he does best. Yes, he was coming into this World Cup after injury and wasn't match fit for me when I saw him bowling during the 2 practice games. And against Australia, as I said, he was rushing in, he was trying to bowl quick, and he was far outside the off stump and short, and he was found wanted. But today, he got that in-between length. And when you hit that length, when you're bowling 140 plus, you're a handful. That's exactly what I did, and I'm so happy that even the selection of Lahiri Kumara, I did question about, why not play Dunitwal Lalagi in place of Lahiri Kumara, and he made us look all funny in the end by picking up 3 important wickets and making sure to get rid of England for 156.
Yeah, more than make all of us look funny.
Made him look funny.
Shaw made England look funny through the day. Shane, your thoughts on what Lahiri Kumara got right?
Yeah, brilliant. That length, and as I say, he's always had the reputation of being fast. And I think even though the one shot that he went for 6 is probably an indication of where he missed. He missed in that zone, and good players will smack that. But when he gets the ball up here, like he did to Ben Stokes, he caused trouble. And when he hit the top of the stumps, he caused trouble. And I think that's why Sri Lanka picked him, that extra pace, and just that little bit of assistance made him a nightmare. So what I loved about the Sri Lankan team, they bowled in partnerships, their fielding was excellent, and in all round they just completely outplayed England.
Yeah, and just a quick word also on a Tikshana in this outing, Farveez. He only got onto the wickets column right at the end, but you look at plugging the runs, it was 5 overs, none for 39. You thought England had the start. That's when Tikshana and Mathews were introduced in tandem, and Tikshana finishes 8.2 overs just for 21 runs. That plays its part. The runs aren't coming from either end.
Yeah, he put the brakes in the power play, didn't he? He came in replacing Kasun Raditha. He kept on plugging at nice length and line to Johnny Bairstow especially. And that's what good bowlers do. When the fast bowler gets hit, he comes in, and that's bowled to his strength. And he doesn't have much variations, but he's good at it. Bowling wicket to wicket, bowling that nagging length. And one delivery just straightened down the line, and that's where most of the batters found wanted. And he's such an important player. I mean, heading into this game, even he was under an injury cloud with his hamstring issue, but luckily he got through. So hopefully he'll keep fit for the rest of the game, because he's going to be very important for Sri Lanka in the future to come as well.
Right, so comprehensive bowling effort from Sri Lanka, the best we've seen from them so far at this World Cup. A couple of instances I just want to quickly touch upon. There was the catch of Chris Woakes, which is the 7th wicket taken by Sadira Samaravikrama at a low grab at point, long replays. What did you make of it? Did it look out to you?
Yeah, initially I was sitting in the green room watching. I thought it was out. Someone else in the green room thought it wasn't. So it just goes to show how those sort of decisions can cause real conflict, even from just us who are watching the game. There's a real difference of opinion, but my initial reaction and going off the reaction of the fielder was that it was out.
Farveez, there were lots of replays, some of which were blurry, some of which weren't so clear. Was there conclusive evidence, one way or the other, to make any decision?
I mean, I will look at it in a different way. I would say it's a 50-50 call, could have gone either way. And this is what happens when a team is doing pretty bad and another team is on top of the other team. Usually, the top team gets those decisions in their ways, and we have seen it in many times in international cricket, in whatever cricket we've played and we've seen. So I thought it was a 50-50 call, and on the day Sri Lanka was lucky.
Yeah, you pretty much sum it up as you set us up nicely with your first answer, and I think you've done the summing up. Just a day where everything works out. Angelo Mathews returns after years, takes wickets. Lahiru Kumara had struggled in India throughout this year, an economy more than 8 in 5 matches, and he runs through the wickets, you get decisions, and that England innings also had an England batter getting run out at the non-strikers end. Not in that way, but a curious one with that Adil Rashid run out. You reckon that will make headlines? Any press conference bites coming in?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a little bit of Johnny Bairstow-ish look about it with, Kuso walked away, glove was off, and then turned around and thrown. So it'll be interesting if anything comes out of that, because it's the similar sort of argument, isn't it? But it's just a player not paying attention who's been run out. I'm not sure if the fallout will be quite as much as the one in the Ashes, though.
Yeah, hopefully not.
No.
Farveez, I hadn't imagined I'll get a chance to ask this question, especially after predictions came at the end of the first show. But are Sri Lanka looking at net run rate now?
I mean, I would like to say yes, but being in the dressing rooms, Shane and myself, when you're chasing a small score, it can get trickier. So this is where Sri Lanka got to be a bit ruthless. I feel they need to go hard, because these little numbers can be a bit tricky. Go hard. Assess the first probably 3-4 overs. Assess it, and then let Kusal Janit play his natural game. Kusal Mendis play their natural game. They're naturally very aggressive. And you got number 3, 4, 5 players, even number 7, Angelo Mathews, can do the job for you. So I think if Sri Lanka gets through the first 6 overs with much damage, I think they will look into try and get it as quickly as possible to get the net run rate high.
Let's ask the neutral if there's any chance at all, if you're in the English camp.
I don't think so. I'm exactly like Farveez. If you think if Sri Lanka play normally, they'll probably win in 30 overs, 35 at the most. You'll just want to earn the right to get into a position where they're, say, 80 for 1 and go, right, now we can afford to throw the bat, because they'll want to win this in 25 overs and probably less, because we know net run rate's going to come into it in the 4th spot, and they're well down on net run rate. So I think they'll just play their normal way at the start, but there's going to be a point in time where, as we've seen with other teams, they'll flick the switch and try and win it as quickly as possible.
All right, Farveez, you gave a cautionary prediction at the start of the game. Now give us hopefully an optimistic one. How many overs till we see you again?
Right, putting me on the spot now. I would say game over, 27th over, losing 3 wickets.
Oh. Yeah, I'm happy with that. It's a good guess. I was going to say 28, but I'll go with Farveez.
Yeah, if that happens, we are looking at a pre-8 p.m. finish. Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it's magnificent.
All right.
As they say, quick game is a good game.
Oh, it's the best of games when it comes during a 45-game league stage, Farveez. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for your time and company. Shane Bond and Farveez Maharoof will be here with us when the game wraps, whether it's in 27, 35. Do England make a fight of it? Can England somehow keep their title defence alive? It looks unlikely. The game will be covered for you on the ESPN Cricinfo mobile app. Be sure to follow it. Lots of reports coming. Keep an eye out after the game, because you can imagine the comments are going to go wild. We will be back as soon as things are over in Bangalore, so be sure to join us then on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricinfo Matchday.